Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen!
I'm Shonny Constant, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Bean.
Kayfabe, motherfucker.
Kayfabe, motherfucker! We are basking in the glory.
In the glory!
Of the opulent Wrestle Palace Chandelier.
Wrestle Palace!
Monkeys fight prison style, dude.
Boom shakaloo!
The scariest of all clowns. Murder Clown.
It's like we've said previously on the show.
Meteora.
Fat! You got a fat ass! It's like he's covered drinking!
Make him home. It's a work. It's a work. And this is the One Fall Show!
Alright, Shonny, you ready to talk about some wrestling?
I am ready to talk about some wrestling.
Welcome back to the One Fall Show, everybody.
Yes, thank you for your patience.
Absolutely.
Lives have been going through a bit of an upheaval, which is probably not surprising, but we are here for the biggest weekend in the WWE.
Yeah, we had to do it this week.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because we're leading into, of course, the Wrestlemania 35.
No, NXT TakeOver.
Oh, well, yeah, too. Yeah, NXT TakeOver. And
WrestleMania 35.
And the Hall of Fame is Saturday. But yeah, NXT TakeOver now. Hey, that's...
Brutus the Barber. When I was a kid, I loved Brutus the Barber. But when I look back, he was nothing but a gimmick. Like, they're not putting
absolutely.
that, whatever the man's name is who became Brutus the Barber, Terry's friend.
Yes. That's his actual name, Terry's friend.
He is not. He should not be put in the Hall of Fame. He's just a better actor, more ripped wrestler. He should come out and be
Brutus the Barber.
Just Brutus the Barber is going in the gimmick, the character.
You mean like when Diesel and Razor Ramon left the WWE and Vince said, "Well, I'll show you," and got two guys to be Diesel and Razor Ramon.
Exactly. Yeah.
It never seems to work out.
No. Honky Tonk Man. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, it was.
He had the IC title for a very long time. I guess that's a little notch on his belt. But
for sure. He's greatest intercontinental champion of all time.
Yeah, I think a lot of wrestlers look at the IC title as the workers' title.
Yes.
Except for the period when the Honky Tonk Man held it.
Right.
So that's another one. It's lean this year.
You know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what. There is, if you're looking, because I've got the Hall of Fame pulled up here, and if you're looking at who they're inducting in the Hall of Fame this year, there are personalities that you may have been a fan of that is like, oh, cool, they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. But as far as, people that like, yeah, that guy, super important to wrestling. I like that the Hart Foundation is being inducted this year.
That's an interesting turn. Yeah.
I wish it could have happened while Jim the Anvil Neidhart was still around.
Oh, that would have been a great acceptance speech.
Absolutely. But, it's another... Brett's already inducted, so to get him inducted a second time with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, that was how I met, as a kid, how I knew Bret Hart.
Yes.
Was as the heel Hart Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wearing the pink and black.
Yeah,
dark
absolutely.
Sunglasses.
So I kind of checked out before he got his singles run and became a big deal.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
I absolutely remember, even as a kid, he was one of those smaller guys that worked really hard, and you knew that and you respected that and thought that was pretty cool. So, and as an older gentleman, I appreciate what Jim the Anvil brought to the table in that particular tag team as well. And speaking of tag teams, you got the Harlem Heat. Now, not being a huge WCW guy, I am unfamiliar with a majority of Harlem Heat's career. But Booker T is a part of it, and his Stevie Ray, his brother, is the other part of it. So I have to imagine they were good.
Yeah, and what I have seen, also very little. But the very little I have seen, they were awesome because they played their characters in any... The moment that sticks out to me is when they had to do that biker rally.
Yeah.
And it was very clearly what we now look at as a biker rally. Like, oh, these circles are very conservative. They are very willing to boo somebody who is not like them. Let's say that.
Sure.
Man, they just took it. They, people throwing stuff at them, and they just sent it back to the crowd. I mean, of course, they weren't delivering suckets, but they might as well have been.
Yeah.
And to me, if you are one of the very few black men surrounded by white guys who are throwing stuff at you and yelling racial slurs, and you're willing to give it back, that is a damn professional.
Oh, yeah. Well, it makes me think of that one night stand where John Cena was facing Rob Van Dam, and the crowd was not having him. Like, you've never seen a crowd so unified against a wrestler, even Roman Reigns. You've never seen a crowd so anti-one guy in that bill, and he was a consummate professional through the whole thing. That's definitely one of those moments where you're like, I think I have respect for John Cena now, even though you're booing him because he's doing the 5 moves of doom and all that, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, no one's booing now that he's added a 6th move of doom.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. But then you look at, like you were saying, like the Honky Tonk Man or Brutus Beefcake. This is the one that gets me. Tori Wilson.
I just don't know her work.
That's because she really doesn't have any.
Yeah, well, okay. It's the women's evolution. They have to continue to dangle wave the sparkling hypnotist amulet of, like, we have always supported women's wrestling,
right? So
that people don't look and think about the fact that the women are making 1/10 of the men.
Yeah,
still.
Yeah, I don't think we even talked about that before we took our hiatus. That report about the pay scale.
Did. Yeah, no, it was very pretty dark.
Yeah, I think the highlight, obviously, of this year's Hall of Fame is D-Generation X. And seeing how much airtime they give to Joni Lawler. To give to, the memory of China.
Yeah, people are very invested in that. I guess that, I'm sure it will be respectful. I will not for one single second engage myself in the argument of whether it was an appropriate level or not. Right. I know that that's coming.
Right. But that's like, out of the 3 huge things WWE-wise that we're looking forward to this weekend, that's the one that, like, everyone's like, yeah, it's going to happen, but, whatever.
Yeah, no, I most likely won't turn it on.
Because the events themselves, the TakeOver and Wrestlemania, are definitely what we're into and what we're looking forward to. So where do you want to start, Sean?
Yeah, man, let's get to TakeOver.
Yeah.
We're releasing this episode on the day of TakeOver, so we probably should keep it brief because I don't know how many people will hear it. But
okay,
we definitely have to go through it because this is my event.
Yeah, no, TakeOver has 5 matches, all for different championships. It's going to be fantastic matches. NXT in the last month has had 2 of the tightest, best shows I can in a year.
Excellent,
that I can remember. There was the one, I think, right before, and one of our previous episodes, there was the one, what was the first round of the Dusty Tag Team Classic.
Yes.
That was absolutely fantastic. And then a couple weeks later, when you got to see the big turn, Johnny Gargano kind of getting his revenge on Tommaso Ciampa before he leaves. I saw a picture on Instagram or Twitter of Tommaso Ciampa after his surgery. He has a baby?
No.
I can't imagine Tommaso Ciampa as someone's dad.
Does it look like a little Ciampa bit, like a weird bullet
head?
Does not.
Yeah, he does not have his head does not, like, obviously it's a baby, so it doesn't have a lot of hair.
I like to refer to it as a Burt-shaped head.
The head is still developing, so it's still very round and soft, and no beard.
No beard.
But,
I was watching some 2014 PWG matches. Our buddy Brandon passed along a tournament from, I believe it's 2014, and Ciampa's in it, and he's got like what I believe is a slightly too thin mohawk, and on top of his Burt head, it looks hilarious.
Well, Tommaso Ciampa, unfortunately, will not be at NXT TakeOver.
No. Oh, but man, that 5-man... whatever you call a fatal 5-way.
Yes.
With all that was the most sparkling set of talent I've seen in a ring.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When they started chanting all those guys, I applauded the audience because I'm like, you are so right. There is not there's not even like the sniff of a stinker in that bunch.
No.
Like that was amazing.
And the match was nonstop. Like I would show that match to people that don't watch wrestling and be like, this is what wrestling is.
Yeah, if I'm going to be able to convince you to get it, this is the match I can use for that.
Yeah, if you don't like this, then you're not going to like anything that's going on in 2019 in wrestling, because this is fantastic. And it led to a 2 out of 3 falls match between Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Baby. How you feeling about this match? I'm excited about almost the entire card.
Yeah, one thing that we're seeing, I believe, leading into this WrestleMania and over the WrestleMania, that I'm either mistaken or people have not been talking about is there have been a lot of gimmick matches, and I think that remember when Ronda Rousey talked about your gimmicks. I love that. I like that we're seeing the 2 out of 3 match.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 falls match.
The matchup is going to be amazing, and I like whoever wins this thing is going to be thrilling.
Yeah,
like the outcome is going to be thrilling in this match because we don't know which way it's going to go.
And that's the thing too is I look at a 2 out of 3 falls match in the same way that you can look at an Iron Man match, like when they do a 30 or 60 minute Iron Man match. Depending on who's in it, you kind of look at the match and you go like, well, I'll tune in for the 3rd fall.
Oh, see, no, I'm not like that at all. I love to watch how the story is told.
But I look at Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, and those guys I believe if anyone can captivate me for 2 out of 3 falls, it's going to be those guys.
Yeah, no, if you don't like this match, Mr. Bean, you're not going to like what 2019 has to offer for professional wrestling. Were you saying 2019 or were you saying a different year?
I was saying 2019.
Okay, good.
You can go back and listen.
No, I believe you.
Okay. Let's talk about the North American Championship. Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle.
First off, amazing that the Velveteen Dream won that title. This is a problematic match to me because I do not want to see Velveteen Dream have to give up the title.
Right.
But we've also seen Matt Riddle be almost unstoppable. So
right.
Hopefully this is the beginning.
It's like whoever loses this match, we lose.
Unless this is the beginning of a program.
Yeah.
That's what I think we need to see here.
Oh man, is Velveteen Dream going to kick Matt Riddle in the nuts? Because we saw that last year in WrestleMania weekend. Because it was the beginning of a program. I mean, if you were facing Matt Riddle, that would be your plan of attack because his package is not PG eligible. Right, but he's so laid back. I wouldn't want to piss him off. No, he's going to kill you no matter what. But I'm just saying, if you panic, you're like, kick that giant thing. Oh man! Speaking of giant things, let's talk about the WWE United States Championship. Walter and Pete Dunne. Oh, so good! I am so excited to see how this match goes down. I hope the crowd is going to go bonkers. I hope both of these guys are still alive when this match is over because they are going to beat the piss out of each other. Yeah, I may wear like a padded vest just so in case. I can relax in my chair and watch the match. Yeah, not be on edge. Do you have a favorite going in? No, I love both of these guys. I don't know what you like. Making Walter the champion would be interesting because he would just then you'd get to see how they feel about the faces in NXT UK. Because I have a feeling he would just grind through guys. Oh, I feel if you don't book him like in the same way that you book Brock Lesnar, like I don't get it. Right. Like, he's just this massive human being. But I don't watch enough of the UK product to be really vested. But right. I will say like if you were to tell me that these two guys were going to be wrestling in Detroit and for $50 I could get a good seat, I would do it. Yeah, so I'm excited about this match, despite the fact that I'm not vested in the bigger storyline, other than the fact that Walter's a killer and he's now in the WWE sphere. Because I look at Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano in the same way in this in tonight's event, in that I feel like they've been in their respective NXTs long enough that if they showed up on Sunday, or they showed up on Monday Night Raw the following night, or Tuesday Night SmackDown, I would not be surprised. No, I wouldn't either, other than one thing. I'm so excited that Ricochet and Alistair Black have been on basically every show for the last month. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be hectic for them, but it's also got to be thrilling, and it's fun to see that. But the one thing that we are seeing is that they are small. Yes. Compared to, they've got to figure out they're going to have to. These tiny guys are going to have to wait until they phase out some more of the big guys. Otherwise, Sheamus is going to take out like 20% of the roster. Right. I do like though. I was just comparing Ricochet the other day to watching Jeff Hardy in the early 2000s. Not so much that I think that Ricochet is going to spiral into drug abuse. No, he's much safer in terms of how his approach. But when he's on the screen, I feel like I need to watch him because I don't know that he will be able to work like this for his entire career. No, I really need to enjoy. Going back to that 5-man match that we were talking about that was on NXT, fantastic match. If you have access to the WWE Network, go back and watch this NXT from 3 weeks ago or something like that. But on one hand, I was engrossed in the match, and I thought it was a fantastic match. Definitely, once again, it's April, the beginning of April, match of the year already.
Right.
Good luck topping that. That's probably the 5 best guys in NXT, much less in professional wrestling, all going at it and putting on a stellar match at Full Sail. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm also thinking we will never see these 5 guys put on a match like this possibly ever again.
Right.
As everybody separates and goes to main rosters and possibly falls in the NXT hole that a lot of guys fall into when they hit the main roster. But yeah, and speaking of Black and Ricochet, they got a busy weekend ahead of them because they're facing the War Raiders on Friday.
Ooh, that's an interesting match, and I could see. We very well may see Alistair and Ricochet win those titles, but then continue to romp through the main roster, and then give a little more of that overlay that we saw with the women's tag team titles, where Bayley and Sasha showed up at Full Sail and said, "We will defend these anywhere."
I feel like because Alistair Black and Ricochet are such a thrown together tag team. They're just like 2 singles wrestlers that are a tag team now, because that way we can get them on screen.
Yep.
I feel like eventually Alistair Black has to turn heel on Ricochet.
Probably. Ricochet, it seems, would be more unlikely as a heel. I mean, he has been like as face he could be for a very long time. But we could also just see them continue. I think that we've seen more and more in the last several weeks how they have been putting the heels together and the faces together. And by doing that repetitively, it starts to create, even though you're not seeing them referring to themselves as clicks. Yeah. It begins to put that in your head that there are different groups of guys.
Right.
And I think that we're going to see that develop a little more. Now, of course, that has been my optimistic thinking for the entirety of the thing. But they keep hinting at it more and more and more. Boy, the Wrestle Christmas this year could be off the hook.
Absolutely.
Could be just more of the same. Well, it's never more of the same, but it could be. It could be less exciting than I believe it could potentially be. But boy, I like the changes that have been made since they brought in the new creative talent. I like the changes, the slight tweaks we've been able to see with Alistair Black and Ricochet every week.
Sure,
I am into the product more than I had been in the past, but I am not all in still. They really got to get. I need to see the Justice League versus the 1984 cartoon. The heels, and we've seen a little more of that as they've talked about getting into tag teams. It's becoming a little bit more like a New Japan presentation, because New Japan likes to throw together giant groups of people. And this week we got to see that the Battle Royal, that intergender Battle Royal.
Oh, that Smackdown match?
Very interesting.
I was hoping you'd bring that up, because it was like 4 ladies and 4 dudes on either side. And I'm like, what a clusterfuck.
I thought it worked.
It was fun. I had a blast watching it, but at the same time, I was like, how about, if you're the ref in this match, just throw your hands up and just whatever. I was going to wait for a pinfall. I'm not going to try and enforce anything, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it was all good, go home, clown show shit. But, what are you going to do? But I'm excited about that, and so boy, I think I'm gonna pick Alistair Black. And
you think so? They go into Sunday, because they have a match on Sunday as well.
What's that match?
They have the SmackDown tag team titles. The Usos are going to defend against them, Sheamus and Cesaro, and Shinsuke and Rusev, which is cool, because for the year that Shinsuke has had, kind of the downturn Shinsuke has had, for him to still be on the WrestleMania card is kind of cool.
Pre-show?
It sounds like a pre-show match, but I don't think it is.
Okay, I saw they released the pre-show information, but
I think the pre-show is the 2 Battle Royals and then the Cruiserweight match.
That is what I heard as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so real match, excellent. Okay,
yeah,
cool,
it's on the main card.
Do we have anything else on? Oh, then women's. Who is in the women's title this year? Shayna Baszler is the champion facing.
Shayna Baszler is facing Bianca Belair, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai in a fatal 4-way.
Fatal 4-way. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. No, that means she's got her girls, her mean girls behind her, so she can have some shenanigans there.
Yeah, I don't know if they will be allowed at the ring though for fatal 4-way. I think so. I mean, there are of course no rules, so it would make no sense for them to stay in the locker room. But,
right.
Sometimes these WWE superstars don't get with the program.
They don't understand the rules exactly.
It may be Bianca Belair's time. I think she might be. She's very interesting. I got to listen to a cool interview with her on Chasing Glory. And, she's a very driven young woman, and I would like to see her win this match. I will say,
yeah. I think she's definitely she has a good combination of everything you want in a professional wrestler, and I think if this isn't her time is definitely coming.
Yes,
whether it's in NXT or on the main roster in some capacity.
Agreed.
But I think she's just maybe months or even a year or two away from hitting Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, her shine has continued to brighten this last season since the last TakeOver, and I think it would be interesting. But so, are you looking? What is your overall outlook on this TakeOver?
You know what? I'm gonna probably, because it's on Friday night instead of a Saturday, because I typically work at like 2 a.m. on Saturday nights. I think I'm gonna watch TakeOver live tonight.
Ooh, interesting.
I think I'm gonna sit down with. I know that my girl Amy. I think I mentioned last time I was watching that match with DIY, and she was like, "I think I kind of like these guys. These are kind of cool." So I don't think I have any plans tonight. I think I'm gonna watch it at TakeOver live.
Nice. Yeah,
to check that out, because that's gonna. I mean. It's the kind of thing I like to say over the last month or so. Raw is a 3-hour show that has about 30 to 45 minutes of content. And takeovers are typically spectacular because they're an hour and a half, 2 hours. And as my nerd radio wrestling co-host likes to say, Erica, it's all killer, no filler.
Yeah.
So,
boy, you are radio people. It's all killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler. So let's get to Sunday. The 8-hour show that is WrestleMania 35.
All right, yeah, we can skip the pre-show stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's some battle royals. Those will be, hopefully there'll be a couple of surprises in the battle royals. It'd be interesting to see.
I love battle royals. I will watch them, but I don't care to hear what the full rosters are and try to parse it all out.
Yeah, not at all. And even
I did like one of the commentators saying that they were concerned that R-Truth thought that if he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, he would become a giant, and that was his motivation. Was he wanted to become a giant?
Now I want to see R-Truth win it. I'm still bummed that R-Truth is not going to meet his hero John Cena for the U.S. title.
Yeah, that's a storyline that they really dropped on the floor.
They dropped. I mean, I'm glad Samoa Joe has a title, but at the expense of the funniness that was R-Truth. I don't know.
Samoa Joe. He is fat.
From what I understand,
he's starting to look like Yokozuna. Far be it from me to, I mean, I should not be body shaming professional wrestlers, and his work is still fantastic.
Right.
But I'm just saying that Big Papa Pump
maybe on something.
May have been onto something.
Did you hear that Rey Mysterio tweaked his ankle? May have sprained his ankle fighting.
No, I did see a headline
fighting Baron Corbin on Monday.
Out. So they may have to throw something together.
I don't know.
To me, just pull that match. You have so much jammed in there.
That's what I feel like. There's 15 goddamn matches on the card, and like the cruiserweights, even if you're not super invested, which I think it's fucking Tony Nese or somebody.
I don't know, man. We'd agreed to pass that.
All right, sorry.
What are you doing?
But
actually,
like,
we really hadn't agreed. I forced that upon you.
They can totally put on a passable match.
Oh yeah.
You can have Samoa Joe just like choke Ray out on the stage, and there's not a match.
WrestleMania is just so not about the matches, which is
it's a spectacle, man.
It's too much spectacle to the point that you're like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But let's pretend that it's exciting.
Well, it is. There are matches in there that obviously I'm very excited to see.
Let's get to them.
All right. Well, let's talk about the main event, man.
Okay.
Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. Motherfucker.
I love that this is the main event. This should be the main event. I've heard that there have been people chirping on the internet, which of course makes sense. People always are chirping on the internet. But if you believe that this is all part of marketing, you are just wrong. Becky Mania, the Becky show, is the most important show on WWE. If you've been sleeping on that, or if you disagree, sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. And the mix with Charlotte Flair and I mean, like, we all want to see Becky win, and there's no guarantee Becky's going to win. This is exciting as hell.
It is, and I think the build-up has been real fun. There's definitely been some missteps. I don't know how many times you can put people in handcuffs and haul them off to the cops.
Agreed. But I got sort of tired of seeing her limping around in the knee brace.
Yeah.
But
whatever. At the same time, this past week, they really kind of did it to the nines by having the stunts with the cars.
Just went all out, yeah.
So that was really fun. And, it's social media has played a huge part in this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a real, a new fun thing. I don't know, man. And I was just thinking it was Monday before the tag match, which was Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda versus the Riot Squad. Becky delivered a promo, and it just occurred to me how far she has come as far as developing her character and her confidence and her ability to deliver promos and much less work in the ring.
No, she is owning it now.
Yeah.
Like she created it and she was delivering it, but now she is owning it.
Yeah. And if you once again, if you're not a believer in the man, then I don't know that wrestling has a lot to offer you in 2019.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic.
But somebody brought up a really good point. I think it might have been in the Lepanto Wrestling group, or it might have been in ours, which you can follow on Facebook, the One Fall Show Wrestling group, that they said if you think Becky, Seth, and Kofi are all going to win at Mania, you're living in a fantasy land.
Yeah.
So that begs the question, if you're bargaining, who's got
Push, Barry, Spill.
Who's got
we say push, Barry, Spill.
Right.
Becky Lynch, Kofi
Kingston, Seth Rollins.
I'm asking you, sir.
Well, I got to push Becky Lynch.
Okay.
I fucking love it, but like at the same time, Seth is the one that if I get a bargain, Seth is the one that doesn't beat Brock Lesnar. I'm already not invested in the Universal Championship, and I'm sure the dollar signs in Vince McMahon's eyes to the possibility of him taking that toy belt to the UFC, to the Octagon, and having the cameras show that thing.
Just like a carny, always believing, hope beyond hope, that somehow the drug tests will not come through with the results that the drug tests always come through with.
Right. And quite honestly, the Daniel Bryan Kofi match is the one where I don't know who I really want to win. Like, yeah, I want Kofi to have his moment, but he's getting a title match at WrestleMania. That in itself is the moment.
Yeah, that may be his moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want Daniel to carry that hemp belt around forever.
I do love that belt.
It's hilarious.
And I love heel Bryan. Although losing the title would make him very bitter, and as long as he continues to have the Daniel Bryan show, he will spin that into bitter gold.
That's true. And I feel like we did see Zack Ryder win the Intercontinental title belt just to lose it the next night. Mm-hmm. I could completely see Kofi getting his title just to lose it on SmackDown 2 days later.
Boy, how about SmackDown 2 days later? He's facing Daniel Bryan, New Day in the corner, and we get the return of the other big goon.
Oh, Luke Harper?
Luke Harper.
Yeah. Hell, bring Bray Wyatt with you.
There's something around the corner, because there was
recycle the whole Wyatt family.
Someone had tweeted, just one of them random tweeters that tweeted like, it sucks that they can't book you properly and that they can never make big plans around you, and he dropped an "Oh ye of little faith" comment. This was like a month ago.
Yeah.
So somewhere, somehow, and there was also, did you read did we discuss the whole concept of the independent wrestler who had tried to copyright the name?
I had not
Sister
heard
Abigail.
I had not heard about this.
Yeah, it was a whole thing, and that may have actually kept him out for a longer time. As the WWE has been an independent wrestler had been with the WWE and released from WWE, was trying to trademark the name Sister Abigail to use in the Indies, and they were like, "Whoa, no, you don't." So I don't know. There may have been something involved in that.
I did read somebody who was saying, too, we're talking about the spectacle of WrestleMania. Obviously, Elias is going to have some kind of musical performance there.
Oh, yeah.
And because we've been trained to expect it, Elias is going to get interrupted by somebody. Mm-hmm. And the report was saying the rumor is it will be either The Undertaker, John Cena, or Bray Wyatt. And I'm like, well, one of these things is wishful thinking. And I think it's Bray Wyatt. I think you're much more likely to see The Undertaker or John Cena come out and mess with Elias than for Bray Wyatt's all of a sudden show.
I don't know. John Cena and Elias already had some programs going, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. The Undertaker is fucking ancient. I'm done with him. Enough.
Can we get on the phone with maybe Big Papa Pump and see what he has at the end? He's old. He got an old ass.
Look at him throwing it at a birthday cake. Go ahead and eat it. Be an old fat ass.
Speaking of John Cena, though, the other rumor surrounding John Cena obviously is that he may replace Baron Corbin in Kurt Angle's farewell match.
Yeah, that has felt to me like a work. I hope it is a work. If it just plays out as a match, it will be a dud. It will feel like filler.
Yeah.
And it will be a great disservice. Just like everyone has been saying, it will be a great disservice to Kurt Angle.
Baron Corbin has heat, not the kind of heat you want.
No, not enough for a 9-hour event.
In the same way that Nia Jax had heat like for breaking Becky Lynch's face, not the kind of heat you really want.
Yeah, unless he's going to pull something crazy, like he's going to get on the top rope and finish Angle with some kind of... What move would he do off the top rope that...
I don't think Baron Corbin goes to the top rope.
But if he did, that's what I'm saying. The only way to make this match pop is he has to do something off the top rope, but the problem is... he has to execute a move that looks like he's delivering a move onto himself, because that's what he does. He rock bottoms himself, he sixes himself. What would he do? He'd have to make it look like he was losing, but actually win the match. That's way too complicated. They're not doing that. Hopefully John Cena wins this match. Let's talk about the real matches. Let's talk about Finn Balor against...
Bobby Lashley.
The Mighty. We're going to get to see the... this is not exactly... After waiting all this time to see the Demon again, Bobby Lashley's not exactly the opponent. I feel like is deserving of this whole thing, but whatever. We'll get to see Finn Balor win. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, that's the hope, right? Is we get to see Finn Balor win, and not only win, but typically when the Demon comes out, he's kind of like an Undertaker-like presence. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter how big his opponent is, the Demon runs through guys.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, and part of that I think is because they're only going to give him 8 minutes,
right?
So he has to run through guys to even work up a sweat.
Yeah,
he's one of the top professional wrestlers in the world, and he's been relegated to this sideshow. But I'd like to see him come back with that title afterwards. I want that title back on Finn's shoulder. Yes, sir. That's what I want going into Monday.
You said they'll probably give them 8 minutes. Here's a match I absolutely hope they give way more than 8 minutes, and it's a match with absolutely no title on the line, very little stakes. I'm talking about Randy Orton and AJ Styles.
Yeah, that is a match that I'm looking forward to. Oddly enough, neither you or I have ever even hinted at being Randy Orton fans.
No,
but no, this goes back to their tried and true belief that AJ Styles can put on a great match with anybody.
Right.
And
they've had essentially 2 promos to build this match off of, mm-hmm. and both of them have been very good work/shoot promos.
Yes.
This week he brought up Randy said it took you so many years to get to WWE. And he's like, yeah, in the years it took me to get to WWE, you were failing drug tests.
That was a great dunk. And this is a match where I would not be at all surprised to see come Monday that the winner of this match spins off into something very interesting. Even though it's not a title match, you have Randy Orton, who would continue on his tear after being this is probably the beginning of a program. The bigger potential of the program is that Randy Orton continue to be on his tear. Does he continue to be the anointed one? I like that they're mixing that in there.
Yeah.
And AJ Styles, at what point does he decide that he wants to go back after the title? That's an exciting storyline. So
he has officially re-signed, like a 3-year deal or something like that.
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I just had read this week too that the Usos have finally said, "All right, we'll stick around. Yeah. We'll stick around. All right." Well, let's talk about the other match on SmackDown that we would imagine leads to something else. And that's Falls Count Anywhere, The Miz and Shane McMahon. Because you would imagine, win or lose, The Miz, this is the end of the Shane McMahon portion of his career, at which point The Miz now moves on to something else, because The Miz definitely in the last couple of years has proven himself as one of the cornerstones of whatever show he's on.
Yeah, and I am in love with Face Miz. The old potato face moment is the turning point, and I'm really into it. I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to this match. This is one that I will definitely be locked into. I'm loving the Miz story. People just love shitting on Shane McMahon, at least in where I hear hubbub.
Sure.
And I don't care. For me, it's the Miz story. That's all I care about, and I'm very excited about it.
Are you interested in Triple H and Batista?
Nope. I like that it's a no holds barred match.
Yeah.
So I will watch it for that reason. If it was not, I would be completely checked out. But that one and the Lesnar match, those are 2 matches that I would be checked out on. Except they both have a little bit of an intrigue, so I think I'm gonna have to just really focus up and watch all 100 hours of this stupid thing.
Well, as
the outcome doesn't matter to me. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't care about the outcome of this match.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, if Triple H loses, he's supposed to retire from in-ring competition.
Right,
and
yeah.
like, when a guy only shows up 2 or 3 times a year, what are you really losing then?
Sure.
Kind of thing. And not to mention, the last time Triple H was in the ring, he hurt himself. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe possibly that was something of a wake-up call of like, okay, maybe I can't, come back 3 times a year and just train real hard for those 3 times a year. Maybe I actually either need to choose to be in the office or choose to be in the ring. But I also...
Or just be the daddy who comes out and just slaps people.
Yeah.
You can just slap people and not ever have to take a bump.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I feel like I need to put this out into the world that Batista delivered a promo this past week where he said 4 goddamn words. He just said
was
something
it any
like,
good? Cause
kiss my ass, Triple H. And it was like, boop, and he was gone. It was not good.
Okay, because the one where he said a lot of things, he just kept saying over...
Give me what I want!
Yeah, that was one of the worst promos I've ever seen. That's like a smudge on Triple H's legacy. That promo was so bad.
I feel like Batista tuned into wrestling 6 months ago and heard everyone complaining about Brock Lesnar not working a lot and said, hold my protein shake, I'll show you.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he showed up, I think, 3 times in the build to WrestleMania. He said 4 fucking words.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be interested in your match? 4 words!
No, I'm much more interested in the fact that James Gunn has been brought back to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise and that we'll see Drax again.
Right. I mean, unless those 4 words are 133% and a third percent.
No.
I'm not, and I know that's more than 4 words. Don't tweet me.
That was it. Don't tell people not to tweet us. We want people to tweet us. Tweet Mr. Bean. At Mr. Bean Wrestles, I think.
Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre?
Roman Reigns and Rocktar?
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, whatever. I don't care.
What about Rocktar?
See, Rocktar to me is underrated. I know his moveset's not that good,
right?
But because he's so muscle bound, if he can clock you with one of those wild arm swings, and he's got those giant fists, and it's not uncommon for him to have a large, small boulder or a large stone. All
right.
I think he's got a puncher's chance in any match.
All right, that's fair. No, that's fair. Rocktar. How about the ladies' tag team match?
Who do we got here?
It's a fatal 4-way. Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Tamina. Don't care. Versus Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Versus Natalya and the returning Beth Phoenix.
Ugh. I don't love this matchup.
No.
I think that the value in this match is going to be that you're going to have 8 women who are going to put on their best possible show because the spotlight is so bright.
The problem is their best possible show might not be very good.
See, I think it will be good. I'm looking for... I thought that Tamina and Sasha... Tamina and Nia Jax actually in their last pay-per-view and in the freeway was really good.
Okay.
I think that I like Bayley and Sasha in ring more and more. They're getting more ferocious. I don't need to hear them on the mic because their storyline and their deliveries are for 6-year-olds.
Right.
And that's fine, but that is not who I am.
But you're not 6 years
I'm
old.
not 6 years old. So unless you're going to do it with funny voices and big body moves, make it entertaining for me, they're not making it. It's a baby story.
The Iconics, almost the exact reverse.
Yes.
When they're on the mic, they're very shrilly, but they're very funny. But then
I'm always intrigued to see what kind of disaster it's going to be.
Yes. But then the moment they actually start wrestling, I'm like, this is not what I'm here for.
No, and I'm not that excited about Beth Phoenix and
Natalya
either. But I think it's going to end up being one of the better professional wrestling matches of the night. That's my prediction.
It was possible. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you've got your fatal 4-way for the Smackdown Tag Team Championships with Shinsuke and Rusev, which would be cool to see them. It would be cool to see Jimmy and Jay on the main Wrestlemania card. That don't happen every year. Cesaro and Sheamus, and then Ricochet and Alistair Black. Do you think Ricochet and Alistair Black maybe walk away with 2 sets of tag team titles this weekend?
I believe it's unlikely, and I believe it's hard to defend that. with all the legacy that all these other talents have.
Yeah.
Unless it was a very short-term thing, like, because when you have a fatal four-way like that, anything can happen, right?
Right.
But I think for them to defend those titles would be very, very difficult. Boy, man, this is still the Usos division to lose as far as I'm concerned.
I would agree.
I do like all of these teams. Unlike the women's match, I like all of these teams. I hope that they're all fired up enough to give us the match that they can. Even if it's not booked away where we get to see them all shine like we wish they could. Some sort of 30-minute barn burner.
Right.
I hope they all put their all into it, like they did with the last Kofi Gauntlet. My favorite thing about that was that every one of those heels put in 100% to make Kofi shine.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, Sheamus still dug into him. He
Yeah.
still did his Sheamus thing, but in a way where he didn't hurt him, but still looked ferocious. Everybody who faced him looked like they desperately wanted to beat him. And that added so much to that, to me.
And how fantastic was it, a week or two later when they had the tag team gauntlet match and the Usos came out and refused to do the job, with Xavier and Big E. They're like, no, we respect you guys and we respect Kofi. We're not going to come out here and cost Kofi his WrestleMania thing. You're going to have to get somebody else. Like that was a genuine. That goes back to what you're saying about these little cliques, this gang mentality kind of thing.
They have for sure been more uniting faces and heels.
Yeah,
I still want the big story. But why they don't want to give me the big story, I have no idea. But
Well, if you're not into the WWE product, then you just sat through 55 minutes of our show, and we thank you for that. But at the same time, there is plenty of stuff going on. I know the Impact's got stuff going on this weekend. Is this the weekend that Ring of Honor is at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, probably. I believe you are correct, which is going to be very interesting.
Right.
I have a feeling that the ticket sales dropped off once the Elite and AEW all split off.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's going to be in the Madison Square Garden waiting room. It's going to be for about 100 fans.
Yeah, April the 6th.
This year, I have been last year, I was so engaged because Matt Riddle was involved in 9 matches or something crazy.
Right.
And I wanted to see as many of them as I could.
He fought Minoru Suzuki last year during WrestleMania weekend.
Yes, he did.
How fucking cool was that?
It was really cool. The problem is, the WWE has absorbed all of my favorite talent in the last 18 months. So I didn't really know who to look out for this year. I am not at all participating in the in the indie circus, and I'm sure it's going on, and I'm sure there's great stuff going on. I just don't know who it is, so I'm missing out. I don't know what Chuck Taylor's doing. Is Chuck Taylor in with the
AEW
madman who always he's been hurt for too long. I can't think of his name. Yeah, whatever. I got nothing for the indie. Sorry.
Yeah, I do want to eulogize Allie, who died in the spirit realm on Impact Wrestling last week, so that she can move on to AEW pastures.
Yeah, well, I think just about every wrestler who's been in Impact in the last 6 years has died in the spirit realm.
Oh man, Rosemary must just have a sweetheart deal in Impact Wrestling. Like they just must let her do whatever she wants for as long as she's been there, and for her to not have gone anywhere else.
Yeah, I have no idea.
She must just have total creative control over the Rosemary character and get to do. I mean, I will be 100%.
Or has enough money that you can just roll out once a month and do the thing, and then just go back on and deal with your life. That's kind of a cool thing.
I will freely admit that the Rosemary stuff is very low key Buffy the Vampire Slayer, bad story, supernatural goofiness,
over dramatized and all that stuff.
Absolutely,
but it's super fun. There's not enough of that going on.
So much fun.
That's what I want with the Bray Wyatt story. We just never got it.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why Bray Wyatt did not beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania 4 years ago.
I love you gotta have one of those characters roaming around, because then it's always fun when somebody has to and cross over with their world, and do it when a Daniel Bryan has to deal with an Undertaker or a Kane, and how
do they interact with this new thing? This different dimension that they don't have to deal with in any other program.
Really good technical wrestler, and I have to tag up with this guy who's been in a fire and can cause the ring posts to catch fire, and
is super old. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the Undertaker is crazy old.
I mean, he is the dead man. So
any day now.
Oh, Shonny, where can people find us on Facebook?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram doing my drawings at Shonny.Constant. Definitely come to the, as Mr. Bean mentioned earlier in the show, the One Fall Show Facebook group. The Facebook
group, yep.
That's where we do most of our chitter-chattering. We're all our friends, Brandon and
sharing our favorite wrestling memes.
Yes. Our friend Elizabeth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where can they find you, Mr. Bean?
We're on. I got the Nerd Radio podcast at WRF.com. If you haven't heard enough wrestling stuff, you can hear me, James from Dave and Chuck the Freak, and Erica talking about everything that's going on this weekend, as well as our we have a fantasy league that we're in with the other wrestling podcasts in the building.
Ooh, nice.
And Erica is killing it.
Nice.
She is in first place by a couple 100 points.
Erica.
I'm in fourth place. James is pulling up out of seven. Yeah, out of 7 guys, James is in 6. So
you can't wrestle.
We're cruising on Erica at this point to take us to the finish line and beat the other podcast. So, like I said, check that out, WRAF.com, and of course, check out Talk Horror to Me.
Yes, there's a horror podcast that I do with Matt Coltino, and we have been, much like this show, a bit on hiatus, but we are constantly grinding to figure out exactly what it is that this product is going to become. So we are not gone. Sadly, the releases have been sporadic, but we are still dedicated to the idea and much appreciative towards the patience that everyone has shown. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Always thank you for listening. And, have fun and be safe. Don't fall in the hole.
No, that's a bad idea.
There's a phenomenal. Well, it's not phenomenal. There's a concert footage of Alice Cooper from 1981.
Okay.
And he is so skinny. Like, this is like just before he basically ends up in rehab and turns into the golfer and the sort of lazy rich rocker instead of the street level guy. But when, about 40 minutes in or something like that, he does that We're All Clones song. Have you ever heard it with all the keyboards?
Yes.
And he's got this amazing t-shirt. It's in black and white. He's super scrawny, and he starts doing this dance. And he's doing this dance, the boom, and he's,
right.
Like, the way the camera captures him is amazing. Like, that song, that 3 minutes clipped out of this video is so cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's like after he hung on at CBGB, so you can see where he was like poaching off the talking heads.
Yeah.
And
he's like, hey.
Television probably, like the altier, artsier brand of punk.
Right.
You know, like the notoriety comes out of the Ramones, but you know there was that whole undercurrent of art punks. And over time, the street punks beat out of existence.
Get your art stuff out of here. Yeah. Go hang out with the metal kids.
And they were like, fine, we're gonna be alternative, and there are gonna be radio stations devoted to us for years. You're so out. You beat us out. You beat us up and told us to go away. We didn't sell out. We found a place to go. But there's for sure, like I imagine, I saw that Keown and Peter David were going to do a Hulk single. That for sure I would like to read. Right,
and that's another thing where like you see that, and I think to myself, you know what? I never read their run on the Hulk.
Oh,
I wonder if it's on this. Oh, it is. Yeah, I guess I'm going to read this now.
Yeah, check that one out. That's fun.
Right.
That's my favorite run.
It
might be my single favorite run in comics.
Really?
Actually. Yeah, I loved the way Dale designed his Hulk.
Yeah. His Hulk was really good.
So much fun between that X Factor stuff.
His X Factor series
Multiple
was fun.
Man and everything was a blast. I was a big Peter David mark.
Yeah.
And a huge Hulk mark. So I would say that run is my favorite. Now, I think if I had to say my favorite comics, it would be like Dark Knight Returns, early Excalibur. That might be my favorite run, actually.
Yeah, early Excalibur is really fantastic.
Like, I love The Punisher. There was the Jim Lee stuff in the original War Journal was fun.
I was just reading an article about like how Jim Lee kind of started on Punisher for Marvel.
Versus Wolverine.
And then kind of moved over to, because I've always seen those pictures, those Jim Lee Punisher Wolverine pictures, and I always thought to myself, why does Wolverine have like a leopard skin cape in these pictures? What is going on?
Yeah, it's in the story.
Yeah, it is.
This is going to feel like a weird pivot, but have you seen the Joker teaser trailer?
Yeah.
That is a better Universal Monsters reboot than the Mummy movie was.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's a contained story about a man falling into madness, which is very much what both Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the Invisible Man are. If you strip them down to their bare roots.
Right.
It's just you're following this man and watching him plunge into madness, and you will feel, if it's done well, you will feel both the pain of the tragedy of the thing, but also the exhilaration of the madness turning him into a monster.
Right.
Which is the same with, again, all the Universal monsters. They had this sympathetic side.
Yeah.
And then this, at the end of it all, after all the movies were done, there were this class of people like myself who were like, I'm not sure the monsters were ever the bad guys.
Yeah, maybe we're the monsters.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the theme.
Yeah. So it looks like that Joker movie can contain those sensibilities. I'm very intrigued by it.
I was fascinated by the fact that Joker teaser doesn't feel like it gives anything away.
No. I was actually surprised it was a teaser because there's a lot there.
Yeah.
You see a lot. And then I saw afterwards that it was a teaser, and I'm like, I don't want to see any of the trailers.
Yeah,
that's all I need to see.
Yeah,
I love the ambiguity of what's there.
It's not like a lot of the problem a lot of movie trailers give is like, well, why do I need to see the movie now? Like, you've given me 90% of the movie in the trailer.
Yeah, no, this gave you a good, meaty view into the movie without any of the turns. You just see little like sweeping strokes.
Yeah.
And like, interesting. What picture does this reveal?
I always
see the whole.
Whenever the Matrix comes up, I always go back to the fact that like I remember seeing trailers for that before it came out, and then I remember that weekend I think you were part of the group that like went and saw it opening night, and then came back and were like, we're going to see the Matrix again tonight. Do you want to come? Like, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Sure.
Sounds like me.
And it was like the trailers gave you no indication.
Yeah.
That you were getting a cyber, I mean, it looked like kind of a cyberpunk movie, but it gave you no indication where it was going.
Yeah, right. You didn't know it was going to be like an action romp, but also with these deep layers of metaphysics.
Right. The red pill, blue pill stuff was nowhere in that trailer.
Right.
It just looked like some cyberpunky kind of stuff. And you're like, all right, this is kind of cool. And then suddenly he, wakes up in the friggin' goo. And you're like, oh my God, this movie is way deeper than I expected.
And the beauty of the red pill, blue pill thing is that actor... he chose not to return to the second movie because he was drawing a hard line with his contract. He wanted $2 million. And they were like, we're not giving you $2 million. He's like, I'm integral to this movie.
Which guy was that?
The bald man who's talking about the delicious steak. He's got the little goatee. I believe he is the one faced with the pill decision.
Oh, Cypher.
Cypher, yes. Yeah, and so he was just written out of the next two. And I believe what happened was that actually put a stain on him because he was like, I'm drawing the line here. And
right.
Fuck you, producers. And they were like, fuck. And all the other producers were in the background. Fuck.
Oh, fuck producers, huh? Is that what you're
thinking?
So
like that was like his last big role.
Yeah.
I've heard interviews with him in the years following. He regrets.
That's fascinating because he's also, him and Carrie-Anne Moss, who plays Trinity, are also in that Memento movie. And I could have swore that was after The Matrix.
Oh, he did not get blacklisted from Hollywood.
Oh, okay. It was
just a matter of what he was being offered. The fact that you would, who knows what the spotlight would have done. Carrie-Anne Moss did not do a ton of high-profile stuff even after doing all three Matrixes. Yeah. However, he probably could have got his $2 million by the third Matrix if he would have stuck with the whole deal.
Right. Yeah, if he wouldn't have kind of been a dick about it the first time.